Hi, my name is Jim and our company is Vantage Property Management. Today I want to answer some questions that we get from owners as to, well, I've just made the decision to rent out my house, and by the way, congratulations on that move. And we just are going over some of the things that we'll have to address. You may not have thought about it at this point, but it really is going to be a big undertaking. But you say, well, you know, that's not a problem. My brother-in-law is pretty handy at taking care of things, or my neighbor Joe down the street will kind of look out for things, and that should take care of it. Well, it doesn't take long to find out that it really is a big undertaking, and it's more than Joe or the neighbor, you know, is going to want to do on a regular basis. Let's talk about some of the things that take up this time and effort. Well, of course, advertising, showing, negotiating the lease terms. These are not just something that happen on their own, and if you don't get them right at the beginning, they can really affect things down the road. Tenant screening. You say, well, the potential tenant is somebody I work with, or a friend of a neighbor's, or somebody in my church group, and I think everything will be fine. Well, it's amazing the things that aren't fine. A professional manager, or someone doing this on a professional basis, is going to be able to be very unbiased but very truthful as far as obtaining credit reports, criminal background checks, civil court background checks. And you say, what do you care about a civil background check? Well, you'd be amazed at the amount of potential bankruptcies that we see before the tenant gets in the property and the property becomes part of the bankruptcy. It's kind of hard to do it as yourself. I mean, how do you say, well, this is my buddy from work, Bill, and we're going to rent him and his family the house. And oh, by the way, Bill, before we do, you don't mind if we run a criminal background check on you. It's kind of hard to do if you're not doing it at arm's length. A good solid lease. This is not an area for the Office Depot off-the-shelf lease. You want a good lease that's been prepared in the state of Maryland for the state of Maryland rules and regulations. A lawyer can do this, a property manager can do it, some real estate companies are equipped to do it, but you definitely want a good solid lease that if things do become a problem, you're on the high ground if this ever had to be addressed in court or that sort of thing. What do you do when the rent's late? I hear stories constantly that the owner calls and he says, well, I've been managing the property on my own, and the tenant was a month late, and now he's 2 months, and I hear 3, 4, 5 months. It's ridiculous just how that can come about. There's no excuse for that in efficient property management. The rent in our office is due on the 1st. We give the tenants a 5-day grace period. But come day 6, we take some very serious steps to make sure the rent is collected, and so we can get it to the owner in a timely manner. The last thing I want to touch on is just the bookkeeping involved. This is pretty important stuff because just everything you do from this point on is going to have some tax ramification for you, mostly good because all of these things usually become tax deductions. But the reasonable monthly fee that a management company charges almost is worth it just for the bookkeeping. So each month you're going to get a concise monthly statement with, of course, money collected, money out, if money was spent, why, copies of any invoices, and just in general everything you're going to need to keep track of the property. Now, of course, all this accumulates at the end of the lease. So at the end, the end of the tax year. So when the taxes are time to be prepared, you've got a good, concise annual report of everything you need to take care of your taxes and get all the deductions that are available to you. Hopefully this has been of some help to you. If you have some more questions along this line, please call us here at Vantage Property Management.